We're ready? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening as Waterbury Public Schools announces that effective tomorrow, Tuesday, November 17th, we will be going to virtual learning for all of our students. We have done this out of an abundance of caution as we have seen COVID positive cases rise in Waterbury, both the city as well as in our school system. And in keeping with our mission to assure that our students and our staff are safe and well and healthy, we have decided to go virtual now instead of waiting until after Thanksgiving as we originally planned. This will mean for our staff that our staff will be in person because all of the materials, all of the equipment and the tools for delivery of teaching and learning are available in the schools, but our students will be learning virtually. We will continue this model until after the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday in January. As always, we're going to continue to monitor the situation with COVID positive, and as we make decisions, we will be in constant contact with the Department of Health as well as other agencies across the state and in the city as we continue to make decisions that are in the best interest of our students. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, how are you going to track participation in school by the students and truancy?
We will continue to track attendance and truancy in the same manner that we do now. Our students will be logging on at the same time every morning, just like we've done in our hybrid model. And so the beginning of instruction is the same when we go to the virtual model. So students are expected to log in at that time. Our teachers will be on at that time. We'll continue with instruction in live. That is, our teachers will be delivering instruction. So we expect our students to log on and to be participating just like they would if they were all in person.
Have you increased your staff, your IT staff, so that if somebody has a problem, somebody can't get on, somebody has a problem hooking up?
Yes, just as we continue to deploy our IT staff, they will continue to do so. We also have staff at school that can assist if there's a minor glitch there, but our IT department will continue to assist and continue to monitor as students may have questions or if they have issues with the computer, so that we can make certain that while all of our students in Waterbury Public Schools who have asked for and need a computer have one, we will continue to monitor that it's also operating.
What was the tipping point? It seems like it's 8:30 at night, you're calling it for tomorrow. It seems kind of an emergency, but is it more, you said, out of abundance of caution, or have you just seen the numbers come up so quickly?
We've seen the numbers rise, especially since we just did this a couple of days ago to announce that we were going to go virtual after Thanksgiving. So yes, we've seen the numbers rise over the weekend, and we have been very vigilant in observing what those numbers could mean in terms of our students in school and their attendance, but very importantly, what that does to our staff as well.
In terms of those rising numbers, what was the challenge of that environment? Trying to just keep the classes going, or what was the struggle there?
I think because as you see numbers that are rising in COVID positive, when you apply the contact tracing, you find that there were various points of contact, which made it a challenge to be able to consistently know how many people were actually in close contact with an individual. We saw that as we saw perhaps COVID positive in a parent, but they may have more than one child in the school system. And so it might have affected more than one school. And then when you looked at the contact tracing and found out that this might have affected more students within a classroom or a grade level, depending on how the students were cohorted, it became increasingly a challenge, and we wanted to make certain that we were going to ensure the safety because they were becoming more and more complex.
Doctor, before your announcement last week, we had seen incidences where there had been numbers of students, numbers of staff tested positive day after day. I was just wondering, what was different about this weekend? Why did this prompt the change?
Mike, what we saw increasing over the weekend, especially on Sunday, was just what I would call a very high rise in the number of COVID positive cases that were reported Sunday. And then we continue to monitor that because not only were there COVID positive cases reported and we saw a rise there, but we also saw the influence that an individual could have had on multiple people. That became increasingly complex.
Was that number 16 over the weekend?
I believe so.
Okay. Has there been any indication that there's been transmission inside the schools, or is there still transmission inside the schools?
I'm not sure if I understood your question, but if you're asking if we believe the transition...
There's been transmission of the virus from person to person inside the school buildings.
I believe that based on what we have seen, that transmission is occurring as people are becoming more and more social in their personal lives outside of school.
Okay, so it's not a correct. You have no evidence that it's spread inside the school building?
In order to answer absolutely accurately, I would repeat that I believe that we're seeing that rise as people are becoming just a little bit more lenient, perhaps in how and in the groups that they're gathering with outside of school, maybe getting a little bit comfortable without masks and maybe going a little bit more social than they should. And of course, having a pandemic, you're not really sure how you actually contract COVID-19. But I believe that it is definitely something that's happening as a result of socialization, not just something that's happening within the school system. But it affects the school system.
It affects the school system, but in the past, there's administration that says that they've seen no evidence of transmission inside the schools. Does that still hold true?
I don't believe anybody can say where exactly people are contracting COVID positive. I can only tell you what I've observed as superintendent is that when people are becoming more and more social in their social lives and away from school, that it affects what happens within the school. That's what I can say with certainty.
And how does this affect the trade schools?
I'm sorry?
How does this affect the trade schools?
Um,
I mean, you could virtually study math and English and science. It's kind of hard to do a trade virtually.
I'm not certain that I understand about the trade schools. Are you talking about the connections that we have with career tech and college pathways? Or you're talking about workforce and people working within trades?
Cater?
Okay. I can't answer for Caner because Caner is not one of my schools in Waterbury. It is not a Waterbury Public Schools.
Were you emotionally, what, for a superintendent to have to close schools for this, how does that affect your heart? I mean, it's got to be a tough decision.
Yeah, it makes my heart very heavy because we certainly believe that the best learning environment for our children is a combination of what we have been providing both virtually and in person. We definitely did not change our minds overnight that the elementary school children, our pre-K-5, our pre-K-8s, and our special needs children and our students that are bilingual benefit when there's that in-person learning and opportunity to engage with the student teacher in person. That did not change, so it weighs very heavily on my heart. What weighs very heavily on my heart is that every day and every hour of the day, I'm constantly aware that I have to make decisions that are going to protect the people who work very tirelessly to make great things happen on behalf of all children, our teachers, our staff, all of our staff, our maintainers, our food preparation workers, our paraprofessionals, our clerical assistants, our administrative assistants, everyone here in the Chase building, my chief operating officer who's behind me here, and director of communications here. I mean, we work tirelessly, so it weighs heavily on my heart, knowing that that we have to make decisions that are going to affect all of the children here, but it's the right decision to make, given the facts that we now have.
How many students?
What's the computer to student ratio right now? How are you planning on getting students?
I'm sorry?
What is this? Does every student have a computer or some type of tablet? And then how do you plan on getting those devices out to the students?
Yes, I would say that Waterbury Public Schools is in a good place in terms of how we have distributed computers. So our students have a computer to use. Everyone who has asked for a computer has one. Everyone who needed a voucher to be able to have free internet access, we have issued a voucher for, so that high-speed internet is available at home as well. And what we still need to work on is how we're going to design the program for our pre-K students. That is forthcoming, because we know that with a pre-K student, we certainly do not expect them to be sitting at home with a computer for 4 hours a day. So the model that we're designing there is certainly going to be with a computer that we will provide to the family, and also a structured learning environment that will be best suited for their learning style.
Mandy touched on food preparation. Many students rely on breakfast and lunch at school. What are they going to do?
Yeah, so we're still going to provide breakfast and lunch in our schools. We're going to do that as a grab and go, just like we have done last year and just like we did this summer. And come tomorrow morning, we're going to provide it at all of the sites, just like we've typically done. And then we will continue to provide that until the Thanksgiving holiday. And then we, as the letter that went out just a couple of days ago, we will be providing the lunches and the breakfast at the sites that are indicated within the neighborhoods, so that they're easily accessible to our families.
How confident are you of reopening the 19th of January?
I can't tell you today how comfortable I am with that, but I can tell you is that we're going to be monitoring the situation and being in close contact with the Department of Public Health, and we're going to make certain that we make the best decisions for our students when we get to that point. What we would like to do, and I can say that with a lot of confidence, what we would like to do is not only look at what we're going to do after on January 19th, but what we would like to do in terms of our hybrid model when we do reopen, and then gradually increasing the number of students that are going to be in person in the school, and eventually getting to the point where we could have a resemblance of school with the majority, if not all, of our students back learning in person.
How are you going to do that? Will it still be optional, the return to school?
I think the answers to all of that, whether it's going to be optional or not, is going to depend on the status of where the nation is on COVID-19, where we are in the state of Connecticut, and specifically where we are in the city of Waterbury.
Thank you.
All right, everyone all set? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Apologize for the late hour.
Appreciate you.
Here, Doc, I'm gonna take it.
Thank you.
Good luck. I know it's never easy ever.
No, you know what? It never is.
So Dr. Fauci says we might have